या थैंक यू वेरी मच। विद्या की देवी सरस्वती को नमन करते हुए मैं संजीव शर्मा ऑन बिहाफ ऑफ HRDC JNU I welcome you all, respected esteemed guest, Director HRDC JNU, all respected coordinator for 3 different courses, a galaxy of intellectuals, distinguished participants connected from the different part of the country. I am very happy to inform you that we are here today for the valedictory for 3 different courses which HRDC have completed today. Today we are here for the valedictory of the faculty induction program, which we have started 4 weeks ago. And in this valedictory program, the inaugural program main speaker was Professor Tripathi, Vice Chancellor from Indira Gandhi Tribal University. 2 other professor course was started 2 weeks ago. Professor course in philosophy and the professor course in physical sciences and the nano sciences. Professor Gurmeet Singh, Vice Chancellor of Pondicherry University and our Honorable Vice Chancellor JNU and Chairman of Indian Philosophical Council was the guest in that courses. I would also happy to inform you that as per the direction of University Grant Commission, we are in the 2nd year conducting online courses. Although we may not be able to physical contact during these courses, but some of the participants, as we have received that the feedback that they are also highly benefited conducting these courses, because from the many last year they may not be able to join these courses physically. So there may be some pros and cons, but as per the feedback but we have received from the participant, that many of the participants were highly benefited through these online courses. And we are also very satisfied that we are also able to provide the best of the resource person, not from the India, but from the abroad during these courses. I would happy to share with you that today we are completing 20 courses out of the 28 courses which were allotted by the University Grant Commission for this year. So with this brief background, I would like to welcome again our esteemed guest, Professor Sachdeva Sir, Honorable Vice Chancellor of Kurukshetra University. We have with us हमारे माननीय जयंत सहस्त्रबुद्धे जी, नेशनल ऑर्गेनाइजिंग सेक्रेटरी विज्ञान भारती, नमस्कार और हम आपका स्वागत करते हैं. We have with us our Honorable Vice Chancellor of JNU and our Director HRDC and distinguished course coordinator for this course. इसी एक विस्तृत जानकारी के साथ मैं प्रोफेसर ब्रजेश कुमार पांडे सर से, जो प्रोफेसर हैं संस्कृत और स्कूल ऑफ इंडिक स्टडीज में और निदेशक हैं ह्यूमन रिसोर्स डेवलपमेंट के, आपके कुशल नेतृत्व में ही हम सफलतापूर्वक ये सब कार्यक्रम करवाने में सफल हो पाते हैं. मेरा आपसे विनम्र निवेदन है कि आप सभी प्रतिभागियों का, माननीय मुख्य अतिथियों का स्वागत एवं अपना उद्घोषण आप हम सबके समक्ष रखें. ओवर टू यू पांडे सर.
धन्यवाद डॉक्टर संजीव. नमस्कार. जेएनयू के इस आभासी मंच पर आप सबका अभिनंदन है. आज हमारे 3 पाठ्यक्रम सफलतापूर्वक संपन्न हो रहे हैं. प्रबुद्ध प्राध्यापकों के प्रशिक्षण की श्रृंखला को HRDC JNU इस कोरोना जनित जो आपत्ति काल है उसमें भी हमने उस श्रृंखला को अवरुद्ध नहीं होने दिया है तथा शिक्षकों के साथ संवाद बनाए रखते हुए उनकी कौशल वृद्धि में निरंतर अपना योगदान किया है. आज के इस समापन सत्र में हमारे मध्य उपस्थित गणमान्य अतिथियों का मैं HRDC परिवार की ओर से हार्दिक स्वागत एवं अभिनंदन करता हूं. हम अपने प्रत्येक समापन एवं उद्घाटन सत्र में ऐसे विशिष्ट व्यक्तियों का सानिध्य प्राप्त करते हैं जिनके व्यक्तित्व एवं कृतित्व तथा उनके शैक्षणिक एवं प्रशासनिक तथा सामाजिक योगदान से हम प्रेरणा ले सकें, जिनके नेतृत्व, मार्गदर्शन एवं दिशा निर्देशों के अनुरूप जवाहरलाल नेहरू विश्वविद्यालय की समस्त गतिविधियां संचालित होती हैं. ऐसे हमारे माननीय कुलपति प्रोफेसर एम जगदीश कुमार जी का इस मंच पर अभिनंदन करते हुए मुझे विशेष प्रसन्नता है. जेएनयू जैसे विश्वविद्यालय के कुलपति का गुरुतर दायित्व संभालते हुए भी, उसका निर्वहन करते हुए भी आप सर्वदा एक शिक्षक की सकारात्मक भूमिका में हमेशा उपलब्ध रहते हैं। और हम सभी जानते हैं कि आईआईटी के अपने छात्रों के साथ अपने निरंतर अध्यापन व्यवहार का निर्वहन करते हुए एक शिक्षक के रूप में हमें अपने दायित्वों के प्रति वो हमेशा जागरूक करते रहते हैं। तो ये हमारे लिए विशेष प्रेरणा का विषय है और आपके आगामी उत्तरदायित्वों के प्रति भी हम अपनी शुभकामनाएं संप्रेषित करते हैं। और जो परिवर्तन विगत 6 वर्षों में जवाहरलाल नेहरू विश्वविद्यालय में दृष्टिगोचर हुए हैं, वो आपके नेतृत्व में अन्य क्षेत्रों में भी दृष्टिगोचर होते रहेंगे, ऐसी हम सबकी शुभकामना है। आज हमारे मध्य उपस्थित श्री जयंत सहस्रबुद्धे जी का स्वागत एवं अभिनंदन करना हमारा दायित्व है। विज्ञान भारती के राष्ट्रीय संगठन मंत्री के रूप में आपने विज्ञान एवं तकनीक के क्षेत्र में शोध, अन्वेषण एवं मौलिक लेखन की गतिविधियों को निरंतर प्रोत्साहित किया है। विज्ञान की प्राचीन एवं अर्वाचीन जो देशज परंपरा है, उसके प्रति आपने जो एकेडमिक जगत है उसको सतत जागरूक किया है तथा नवीन विचारों से आप्लावित प्रबुद्ध जनों की एक पूरी श्रृंखला तैयार की है। एक परिष्कृत पीढ़ी तैयार कर दी है आपने। भारतीय वैज्ञानिकों ने किस प्रकार से आविष्कार, लेखन एवं अनुसंधान के माध्यम से भारतीय स्वातंत्र्य समर में अपना योगदान दिया तथा भारतीय नवनिर्माण के वाहक बने, इसका आंख खोलने वाला एक परिचय हमें जयंत जी के कृतित्व से मिलता है। आपका अभिनंदन है सर। हम कुरुक्षेत्र विश्वविद्यालय के माननीय कुलपति प्रोफेसर सोमनाथ सचदेव जी का कृतज्ञता पूर्वक अभिनंदन करते हैं, जिन्होंने उद्बोधन हेतु हमारे मध्य पधारने की सहमति प्रदान की। आपका जो सुदीर्घ शैक्षणिक एवं प्रशासनिक अनुभव है, अभियांत्रिकी के क्षेत्र की आपकी विशेषज्ञता है, वो आपके सामाजिक सरोकारों में भी परिलक्षित होती है। आपका स्वागत है सर। आज जिन 3 पाठ्यक्रमों के ज्ञान यज्ञ का ये समापन सत्र है, उनके विद्वान कोऑर्डिनेटर्स का स्वागत करना वस्तुतः उनके समर्पित कार्य के प्रति मैं समझता हूँ आभार एवं कृतज्ञता व्यक्त करना है। प्रोफेसर भगत ओएनम एवं प्रोफेसर रजनीश मिश्र का जो ज्ञान गांभीर्य है और वो दर्शन शास्त्र की गंभीर परंपरा जो प्राच्य और पाश्चात्य की है, उसको रूपायित करने वाला है। उनके संयोजन एवं समन्वय में ये प्राच्य और पाश्चात्य का जो समन्वय है वो परिलक्षित हुआ है। हमारे जो प्रतिभागी हैं उनके ध्यान में निश्चय ही विषय आया होगा। प्रोफेसर मनीष कुमार एवं डॉक्टर प्रतिमा सोलंकी ने बड़े मनोयोग से, बड़ी प्रतिभा से और विद्वता से अपने कोर्स का जो फिजिकल साइंसेज एवं नैनो साइंसेज में है उसका समन्वय किया। फैकल्टी इंडक्शन प्रोग्राम को प्रोफेसर राजीव सेजेरिया, डॉक्टर लोकेश जिंदल एवं डॉक्टर लक्ष्मण कुमार बेहरा के सजीव सर्वांगपूर्ण दिशा निर्देशन में आज परिणति प्राप्त हुई है। सबका मैं आभार व्यक्त करता हूं। मैं स्वयं की ओर से HRDC कार्यक्रमों का जो सूत्र संचालन करने वाले डॉक्टर संजीव शर्मा तथा समस्त टीम का अभिनंदन करता हूं, जिनके स्नेहपूर्ण लेकिन अनुशासनपूर्ण जो क्रियाकलाप हैं हमारी समस्त गतिविधियों को जीवंत रखते हैं। भारत के विभिन्न प्रांतों से उपस्थित सभी शिक्षक साथियों का स्वागत है, अभिनंदन है पुनः इस मंच पर। रोज हम उनसे मिलते हैं, आज उनके कार्यक्रमों की ये सफलतापूर्वक परिसमाप्ति हो रही है। आप सबने इन पाठ्यक्रमों को अपनी सहभागिता से, अपने संवाद से एवं प्रातिभ योगदान से इसको गरिमापूर्ण बनाया है। हमें विश्वास है कि हम सबके परिश्रम से आपको निश्चय ही कुछ नवीन दृष्टि मिली होगी, कुछ नया पाथेय मिला होगा और कुछ नया दिग्बोध प्राप्त हुआ होगा। इसे आप अपने शैक्षणिक क्षेत्र में जहाँ भी आप कार्य करते हैं या सामाजिक क्षेत्र में जहाँ आपका निवास है, अपने इस कार्यस्थल पर उसका प्रयोग करेंगे, उसका विनियोग करेंगे और अपना सकारात्मक योगदान न केवल शैक्षणिक क्षेत्र में बल्कि सामाजिक गतिविधियों में भी करते रहेंगे। आज जिन पाठ्यक्रमों का समापन है वे मेरी समझ से आपस में भी एक दूसरे से जुड़े हुए हैं। ज्ञान का कोई भी क्षेत्र स्वतंत्र नहीं है, सबका संबंध ज्ञान की अन्य शाखाओं से होता ही है। इसलिए पारस्परिक संवाद एवं आदान प्रदान होना आवश्यक है। श्रीमद् भगवद गीता में श्री कृष्ण कहते हैं कि ज्ञानम विज्ञान सहितम यज्ञात्वा मोक्षसे शुभात्, अर्थात अशुभ, अर्थात जो अज्ञान है, अंधकार है, विषमता है, दुख है, भय है, उससे विमुक्ति के लिए विज्ञान सहित ज्ञान का होना आवश्यक है। तो आधुनिक संदर्भ में हम इसकी अगर व्याख्या करें तो यह प्रतीत होगा कि जीवन के जो रहस्य हैं, जो विसंगतियां हैं, उन पर प्रश्न उठाने एवं उनके माध्यम से उनके समाधान का मार्ग ढूंढने के लिए एक और दर्शन शास्त्र आवश्यक है। तो विज्ञान या साइंस जीवन जगत की गुत्थियों को प्रयोग पुरस्सर सुलझाकर मानव जीवन को सुगम, स्वस्थ और सुकर बनाने का एक माध्यम है। भारतीय परंपरा में आत्मबोध या स्व का अनुभव ही दर्शन है, जबकि ज्ञात पदार्थ का उसी रूप में स्वयं अनुभव करना ये विज्ञान है। शंकराचार्य जी ने एक जगह कहा है कि ज्ञानं शास्त्रोक्त पदार्थानां परिज्ञानम, विज्ञानं तु शास्त्रतो ज्ञातानां तथैव स्वानुभव करणम। इसी समन्वय सूत्र को हमें तलाशना भी है और तराशना भी है, अर्थात अन्वेषण के साथ साथ परिष्करण। एक शिक्षक के रूप में हम चिंतन, मनन, निधिध्यासन के मार्ग पर आगे बढ़ते रहें, शिक्षण एवं लेखन के द्वारा अपने छात्र समुदाय तथा समाज को प्रबोधित करते रहें, यही हम सबका दायित्व है। बिना सामाजिक सरोकारों के, बिना समाज के प्रत्येक जन की पीड़ा से जुड़े हम अपने अध्यापकीय दायित्वों को पूर्ण नहीं मान सकते हैं। चूंकि समाज को गढ़ने तथा उसके वर्तमान एवं भविष्य को संवारने में हमारी महती भूमिका है, इसलिए प्रशिक्षण परिवर्धन की इस प्रक्रिया में हमारी जो सहभागिता है, जो हमारा सहयोग है, वह निरंतर बना रहे, ऐसी हम सबकी अपेक्षा है। आप सबका पुनः इस मंच पर हार्दिक स्वागत है, अभिनंदन है। आप सबको सादर नमस्कार।
धन्यवाद सर, आपका बहुत बहुत आभार और अभिनंदन। आज के वैलेडिक्टरी सेशन में हम ऐसा कार्यक्रम में परिवर्तन किया है क्योंकि माननीय जयंत सहस्त्रबुद्धे जी को एक आवश्यक किसी मीटिंग में जाना है, इसलिए कोऑर्डिनेटर्स का जो ब्रीफ प्रेजेंटेशन है हम उसमें बाद में कराएंगे। मैं कुछ पंक्तियों के साथ, मैं अकेला ही चला था जाने ए मंजिल मगर, लोग साथ आते गए और कारवां बनता गया। मैं ऐसे व्यक्तित्व का परिचय आप सबके समक्ष रखना अपना परम सौभाग्य समझता हूँ, जो कुछ ऐसे ही जज्बे और हौसले के साथ माननीय श्री जयंत सहस्त्रबुद्धे जी, जो अपना संपूर्ण जीवन अपने देश के प्रति और लोगों की भलाई के लिए कर रहे हैं, जिनका मुख्य उद्देश्य स्वदेशी विज्ञान को बढ़ावा देना और स्वदेशी विज्ञान आंदोलन को जन सामान्य तक पहुंचाना कि विज्ञान और तकनीक से जन सामान्य का भला किस प्रकार हो सकता है और स्वदेशी विज्ञान से पूरी दुनिया में अपने भारत देश का नाम अव्वल हो, सबसे प्रथम हो। ऐसे महान व्यक्तित्व का हम सब के बीच में होना हम सब के लिए बहुत ही गर्व का विषय है, जो भाभा एटॉमिक रिसर्च सेंटर में भी काम कर चुके हैं और अभी विज्ञान भारती के राष्ट्रीय संगठन मंत्री हैं और विभिन्न प्रकार के जो कार्यक्रम है जो जन सामान्य तक विज्ञान किस प्रकार से पहुंचे उसमें लगे हुए हैं। बहुत सारे कार्यक्रम जिसमें टेक फॉर सेवा, ग्लोबल इंडियन साइंटिस्ट एंड टेक्नोक्रेट्स फोरम, शिक्षा शिल्पी और इंडियन इंटरनेशनल फेस्टिवल, कुछ ऐसे कार्यक्रम हैं जो भारत में नहीं बल्कि संपूर्ण विश्व में इस भारतीय ज्ञान का प्रचार प्रसार कर रहे हैं। आप बहुत कुशल लेखक हैं, महान दार्शनिक एवं प्रेरक और ऊर्जावान वक्ता हैं, जिससे बहुत सारे युवा जो हैं आपसे जुड़े हुए हैं। मैं आपसे विनम्र निवेदन करूंगा कि हम सबका आप मार्गदर्शन करें। माननीय जयंत सहस्त्रबुद्धे जी।
नमस्ते, मेरी आवाज ठीक आ पा रही है?
जी भाई साहब।
आपके इस विश्वविद्यालय के सम्माननीय कुलपति माननीय डॉक्टर जगदीश कुमार जी, यहाँ पर विशेष रूप से उपस्थित कुरुक्षेत्र विश्वविद्यालय के माननीय कुलपति डॉक्टर सचदेव जी, इस पूरे कार्यक्रम की सूत्र को संभालने वाले, योजना बनाने वाले ऐसे श्रीमान प्रोफेसर ब्रजेश कुमार पांडे जी, और यहाँ पर उपस्थित इस कार्यक्रम की योजना बनाने वाले और इस कार्यक्रम में प्रतिभागी इस नाते जुड़े हुए सारे गुरुजन, आप सभी को मैं सादर अभिवादन करता हूं। आप सबसे कुछ बात करने का अवसर मुझे आपने दिया, इसलिए आपके प्रति मैं कृतज्ञ हूं। हम सब जानते हैं कि वर्तमान में स्वतंत्रता का अमृत महोत्सवी वर्ष हम सब मिलकर मना रहे हैं। यहाँ पर उपस्थित सभी का एक सद्भाग्य रहा कि हमें स्वतंत्र भारत में जन्म लेने का मौका मिला। लेकिन ये सद्भाग्य जिनके कारण मिला, स्वतंत्रता प्राप्ति के लिए जिन्होंने बलिदान दिया, त्याग किया, समर्पण किया, ऐसे सभी का स्मरण करना ये हम सभी का दायित्व बनता है। स्वतंत्रता प्राप्ति ये हमारे लिए बहुत आवश्यक थी, क्योंकि किसी भी देश को जब गुलाम बनाया जाता है तब उस पर आक्रमण करने वाले का जो विचार होता है वो ये होता है कि जिस पर आक्रमण करना उसकी पहचान को समाप्त करना। और केवल अंग्रेजी नहीं, तो अंग्रेजों के पूर्व के जितने आक्रामक थे उन्होंने भारत की पहचान को मिटाने का प्रयास किया। सभी के तरीके अलग अलग प्रकार के थे। जैसे अपने देश की एक बहुत बड़ी पहचान दुनिया में है कि भारत ज्ञान का सृजन करने वाला देश है और ज्ञान की निर्मिति करके पूरी मानवता को बांटने वाला इस प्रकार का ये देश है। तो अंग्रेजों के पूर्व के लोगों ने अपने देश की ये जो परंपरा है, ज्ञान की परंपरा है, उसको मिटाने के लिए कई विश्वविद्यालयों को तोड़ा, वहां के ग्रंथालयों को जलाया। उनको लगा ऐसा करने से इस देश की पहचान मिट जाएगी, समाप्त होगी और ये अच्छे दास बनेंगे, गुलाम बनेंगे। अंग्रेजों ने प्रत्यक्ष कुछ विश्वविद्यालयों को तोड़ा, पुस्तकों को जलाया, ऐसा नहीं हुआ। लेकिन अंग्रेजों ने आधुनिक विज्ञान का उपयोग करके अपने देश की जो ज्ञान परंपरा है उसके ऊपर ही प्रश्न चिन्ह निर्माण किया। आज जिस शिक्षा व्यवस्था की हम बात करते हैं या जिस शिक्षा व्यवस्था को हम चला रहे हैं उसमें हम भी स्वयं चलते हैं। ये सारी शिक्षा व्यवस्था उनके द्वारा स्थापित हुई जिसमें भारत में निर्मित ज्ञान हम पढ़ाते नहीं है और पढ़ते भी नहीं है। ये बहुत ही बड़ी चिंता की बात हम सभी के लिए है। स्वतंत्रता के इस अमृत महोत्सवी वर्ष में हमने इसकी ओर अपना ध्यान रखना चाहिए कि अपने विश्वविद्यालयों में, अपनी शिक्षा व्यवस्था में भारत में निर्मित ज्ञान ये अवश्य पढ़ाया जाना चाहिए और हम सभी ने वो पढ़ना भी चाहिए। आज की परिभाषा में कहना है तो ये हम सभी का एक मौलिक अधिकार भी है जो आज हमें प्राप्त नहीं हो रहा है। हमें इस बात की चिंता करनी पड़ेगी। आज स्वतंत्रता के अमृत महोत्सवी वर्ष में, यानी स्वतंत्र भारत की 74 वर्ष की यात्रा पूरी करके 75वें वर्ष में हमने प्रवेश किया है। हम निरंतर आगे बढ़ेंगे, 125 वर्ष भी मनाएंगे स्वतंत्रता का। लेकिन आगे आने वाले इस काल में भारत की खोई हुई इस पहचान को वापस प्राप्त करना, इस दिशा में हम सभी को बढ़ने की आवश्यकता है, ऐसा मैं मानता हूं। और उसमें आप जैसे गुरुजनों का बहुत बड़ा योगदान स्वाभाविक हो सकता है। तो मेरी आपसे यही प्रार्थना रहेगी, यही अनुरोध रहेगा कि आप जैसे गुरुजन ये भारत की अपनी जो खोई हुई पहचान है उसको वापस प्राप्त करने के लिए प्रयास करें। और मुझे विश्वास है कि आप जैसे विद्वान लोग अगर इस दिशा में सकारात्मक पहल करेंगे तो आगे आने वाले 25 वर्षों में ये जो भारत की खोई हुई पहचान है उसको वापस लाने में, उसको फिर एक बार प्राप्त करने में हम निश्चित सफल होंगे। मुझे लगता है कि इस दिशा में हम सभी मिलकर यात्रा करें, यही एक कामना और अपेक्षा, एक प्रकार का संकल्प हम सभी के मन में हो, ऐसा मुझे बार बार लगता है। आज मुझे यहाँ पर इस विचार को प्रस्तुत करने का अवसर आपने दिया, इसलिए फिर एक बार आपका धन्यवाद यहाँ पर प्रकट करते हुए मैं यही रुकता हूँ। नमस्कार।
धन्यवाद, आपका बहुत बहुत आभार। हमें आपको सुनने का मौका मिला, और जैसा आपने कहा है कि शिक्षक जो है वो इसमें एक बहुत महत्वपूर्ण भूमिका निभा सकता है राष्ट्र निर्माण में, चाहे भारतीय जो ज्ञान परंपरा है उसको किस प्रकार से आगे बढ़ाया जा सकता है। हम आप सभी आपके आभारी हैं कि आपने अपना बहुमूल्य समय निकाला और हम सबको सुनने का मौका मिला। बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद। Now I would like to proceed further to continue the program. Now we have the course coordinator for faculty induction program, and this is a 1-month program, and the main purpose of the induction program is to make the teacher aware about the administrative setup, sensitize him or her to classroom reality and understanding the bond between different stakeholders, so that they can also learn about the university's rule, regulation, assessment and evaluation process. And we have conducted so many lectures during this 3 weeks program. I would like to request the faculty induction program coordinator, Professor Rajiv Sejaria sir, who is the professor in Atal Bihari Vajpayee School of Management and chairperson for Special Center for E-Learning. I request you to kindly present a brief report of these courses. And in addition to this, I would also like to inform you that we have another 2 course coordinator, Dr. Lokesh Jindal ji from the Atal Bihari Vajpayee School of Management Studies, and Dr. Lakshman Kumar Bhera from the SIS. So over to you, Professor Sejaria sir.
Thank you, Sanjeev ji. Very good afternoon to Honorable Chief Guest of this valedictory function, Honorable Jayant Sahasrabudhe ji, notable scientist, thinker and writer, Honorable Somnath Sachdeva ji, Vice Chancellor Kurukshetra University, Haryana, Professor M. Jagdish Kumar ji, Honorable Vice Chancellor of Jawaharlal Nehru University, Professor Brajesh Pandey, Director HRDC JNU, and coordinators, co-coordinators of refresher courses in physical science, philosophy, and faculty induction program 7. Participants of all 3 programs, 1 faculty induction program and 2 refresher programs. Here we are at the point where our 1 week and 1 month this induction program and refresher program comes to an end, and the valedictory program is there. I have been given responsibility to present a brief report of this 1 month long program, though it is a very difficult task because there were 70 sessions took place in 4 weeks. Notable speakers, thinkers, philosophers were there, and few vice chancellor, existing vice chancellor, former vice chancellor, directors, principals, notable speakers, they were there. And their lectures, their deliberations were based on Guru Dakshata module of UGC. This Guru Dakshata model of UGC is divided in 10 parts. This tells about the academic integrity, it tells about the higher education and ecosystem, it tells about the research and pedagogy, course curriculum development, NEP, environment, constitutional values. So we try to balance all these areas, and the experts from various fields were there. A brief presentation I am putting here so that I can tell about the work of different speakers who were there. I believe my screen is visible.
No, sir.
No. Okay. So not an issue. We have taken lecture in first week. There were Deependranath Das ji who took the topic UGC regulations in higher education, and we have role of research in effective teaching by Dr. Anjala Kalsi. Dr. S.L. Gupta has taken innovation in digital learning and teaching. And Professor Prasant has taken media relations in university. He has deliberated his lecture on career advancement scheme and UGC regulations. Now I believe this screen is visible, I believe.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay. This highlights of the faculty induction program quickly on 27th of December last year, 2020, Professor Ravikesh and Professor Sri Prakash ji, Vice Chancellor of this Amarkantak University, they graced this occasion, and we started this program, and with the wisdom we received from both of the dignitaries and Director Professor Rajesh Pandey. Next, on the next day, we were having this Professor Kailash Chandra Sharma of Kurukshetra University. We are having the gracious presence of current Vice Chancellor of Kurukshetra University, Professor N.K. Taneja, former Vice Chancellor of Chaudhary Charan Singh University, also there. Dr. Arun Kumar Bhagat, Bihar State Public Service Commission member, he also deliberated his lecture. Professor Hare Krishna, CCH University, and happened to be the member of NEP implementation at state level, Uttar Pradesh. Dr. Shakila Shamsu, Ministry of Education, she has been the member in task force. And Professor Prasant Gupta, I am Trichurapalli, Dr. Malkhan Singh. So we were focusing on different aspects of Guru Dakshita module. Professor Saroj Gupta and Dr. Jayendra Jadhav ji, who has been the member of Gujarat State Implementation Committee of NEP, Professor R.P. Das, former Vice Chancellor of Bahrampur University and the current Pro Vice Chancellor of IGNO, he has been there. For technology for teaching and assessment of I generation from Jamia Millia Islamia, Professor Pankaj Kumar Gupta, Professor Milind Marathe, who has been the notable thinker, philosopher, and academic, and he deliberated his lecture on use of ICT. Dr. Ramesh Kumar Sharma was there. Dr. Seetal Sharma and Dr. B.S. Balaji from JNU, who has been very much popular among the all continuously in all the FIPs, FIP 6, FIP 5. So we are some of the important lectures that includes Professor of IIM Raipur and Professor IIM Tiruchirappalli, Professor Prasant Gupta. They took on various aspects of the teaching learning process. Here I would like to emphasize that where our focus was on the production capability and product output. At the same time, the direction and the focus we were kept in our mind. So while we were selecting the speakers, we decided that some of the principals, directors, and head of the departments, deans, members of executive council, academic council, all walks of life in academics, they should be there. In Central University, Dr. Ashutosh Mohan of Institute of Management Studies, VHU were there. Professor Neelendra Badal, principal of Regional Engineering College, Visnor was there. And Professor Atul Pandey, Dean APS University, Viva was there. Professor Ravi Narayan Kar, principal of Shyamlal College. Dr. Abhishek Tandon, who told about the various research grant and its provisions. Professor Arun Kharath told about the administrative career CAS related provisions, some administrative rules. Professor Bhagwati Prakash, former Vice Chancellor of Gautam Buddha University, was there. So I kept on taking name, but the highlight which we received the very, very warm welcome from the participants. Today also we had 2 feedback sessions with the participants, one at 11 o'clock and another one at 2 o'clock. So all the participants were very much happy to have the lectures of Sri Jain Saswade ji, Sri Atul Kothari ji, Sri Mukul Kanitkar ji. So they were demanding that such lectures should be more, not one lecture is suffice to listen the wisdom from such eminent persons who has devoted their life for the cause of the academics. I promised him that whensoever such opportunity will be there, they will be readily available if our request will be placed to them. So list is very broad, but time is limited. I can just have a glimpse of these notable speakers who taught, who spoke about various aspects. And at the last, I would like to thank you for this valedictory function for Sri Jayendra Saswade ji, Professor Somnath Sachdeva ji, Professor Jagdish Kumar ji, who happened to be there as a special presence. Thank you, Professor Brajesh Kumar Pandey ji and Dr. Sanjeev Sharma ji, to give this opportunity. Thank you, my co-coordinators, Dr. Lokesh Jindal ji, Dr. Lakshman Kumar Behra ji. Also, special thanks to Ankit Suri and Yogesh Sharma, who has been our personal support in facilitating many back office related activities. Thank you very much. And over to Sanjeev ji.
Thank you very much, Professor Rajiv Sajaria sir, for presenting a report about the faculty induction program, and we highly appreciate your effort for conducting this course and inviting the speaker from the diversified field, those who are authority in their subject. I would like to thank other two, both the coordinator, Lokesh Jindal ji and Lakshman Kumar Behra. Now I would like to request course coordinator for the third professor course in philosophy, Professor Bhagat Oinam sir, who is the chair person for the Center for Philosophy, and Professor Rajneesh Kumar Mishra sir, professor in the School of Sanskrit and Indic Study and the Chief Proctor of JNU. Now I request to Professor Bhagat Oinam sir kindly present a brief report about your course. Over to you, sir.
Okay, Dr. Sanjeev, thank you very much. Respected Sri Jayant Saswade ji, Professor Sachdev, Vice Chancellor of Kurukshetra University, Professor Jagdish Kumar, our own Vice Chancellor, Professor Brajesh Pandey ji, Director of HRDC JNU, my colleagues who have coordinated the other refreshers course on physical science and nanosciences, and also faculty induction program, and also all the participants who have joined together. I'm really privileged to be given this chance to briefly inform you, and particularly the August gathering and the dignitaries, what we have tried to do in this refreshers course in philosophy. One of the most ancient and the oldest subject that philosophy is, we have this time tried to confine to the domain of metaphysics and ontology. And we have, largely in the Indian universities, Indian philosophy and Western, particularly Euro-American philosophies are being taught. So that we have kept in mind, but we have not confined ourselves only to that curriculum. We have wanted to expand beyond and introduce several other themes within the discourse of metaphysics and ontology to these participants. The question of, for instance, substance, the question of reality, the question of truth, the question of being, non-being, Atman, Anatman. So all these concepts had been discussed. Not only what we normally understand in Indian philosophy, like 3 heterodox and 6 orthodox schools of philosophical thought, those were taken care of. But in addition, we have also included Kashmiri Saivism, for instance. That is one. And also we have brought in Judaism, and we have also taken into account Christianity and Sufism and Bhakti within this entire process. And we also tried to make a very strong point to communicate to the participants and larger audience of philosophy that typical divide we have had in this country. Academic discipline, philosophy should be what quote unquote secular, and religious teaching, what you call theology, should be sidelined. This was a thought, this was prevailing for a long time, but we want to convey that what you call our own religious tradition and worldviews are not separable from philosophizing. And so religious traditions, whether it is in the Bhakti tradition, whether it is in the Sufi traditions, whether even in the Hasidism of the Judaic tradition, we have got an Israeli scholar talking about it. We also had scholars speaking on Zoroastrianism and trying to link the civilizational link of Iran that was pre-Islamic with what the Indic civilization was. So we were also trying to look at the metaphysical and ontological narrative across civilizations. And this was what we have tried to do. And briefly, let me also inform you about the discussion which was initiated by Professor Sachidanand Misra, who is the member secretary of ICPR. The first lecture he gave on Nyaya metaphysics. Then we have Professor Raghuram Raju initially from Hyderabad University talking on the comparative philosophy on the being and the permanence. Then we also had Professor Kapil Kapoor talking about the Brahma Vichar in the larger philosophical tradition in India. We have had Professor Sasi Prabha Kumar, who is now the chairperson of the Indian Institute of Advanced Studies, Simla, talking very lucidly on Vaisesika tradition. And we also had Professor Siva Prakash, who was the professor in JNU, and talking at a very unconventional theme on the Guru as Tattva in Indian tradition. And these are normally not there in the academic curriculum in philosophy circle, that we want to also break some of the known academic disciplinary boundaries that we have tried to do. We have had even Professor Pradeep Gokhale speaking on Lokayat, and Indian materialism has been somehow sidelined. Even we wanted to talk and bring in the idea of Lokayat in the understanding of metaphysics. We had Bijoy Borua, who was a professor of IIT Delhi, talking on the issue of personal identity, on the self, on the consciousness. We have had lectures on Sankhya Yoga philosophy, Advaita Vedanta, even on the aesthetics, on the classical aesthetics of Natya Shastra. We have also had on Martin Buber, even the whole question of problem of evil, and also about the aims of art in India and Greece. This was also discussed by Professor Bharat Gupta. So we have had a very vast discourse taken up, and hopefully we were expecting our participants not to remain confined to what has been framed in the last 60, 70 years of Indian education, but something, a new way to look on the inter-civilizational narrative in order to understand philosophy. So these are all briefly that I could share with the dignitaries in the dais. Thank you once again, Professor Pandey, for giving me this opportunity. If Professor Misra would like to add anything, then he may join.
Sir, you have covered everything. It was really a refreshing journey. We were both as coordinators, we were also enriched while going through this discussion. And I thank the participants who actively engaged in the discussions and made this program very, very successful. Thank you very much, sir, to all of you. Namaskar.
Thank you, Professor Oinam and Professor Misra, sir, for presenting the brief report of your course, and our deep sense of gratitude to you, sir, for your hard working and the dedication, because most of the time you both were the present in the sessions. And maybe sometime our participant may feel that the HRDC JNU program is very hard. So we may be very strict sometime, like all your presence, video on, everything. But we also feel proud that our HRDC program is totally different from the other HRDC program, because we are also going there to deliver lectures. So we are always comparing and try to improve every time. Thank you very much, sir. Now I would like to invite our very young and energetic coordinator, Professor Manish Kumar Kashyap sir, for Professor course in Physical Science and Nanoscience, to present a brief report of your courses. And we have also other coordinator, Professor Pratima Solanki from Special Center for Nanoscience. Now I request to Professor Kashyap kindly present a brief report to you. Over to you, sir.
Thank you very much, Dr. Sanjeev ji, and good afternoon, all the dignitary colleagues and participants present in this valedictory function. So I have organized refresher course earlier in past, but this time in JNU, the expectation were very high. So therefore, we, me as well as Dr. Pratima have tried our best to engage eminent speaker, not only from various parts of the country, but also from abroad. Respected Professor M. Jagdish Kumarji, Honorable Vice Chancellor, JNU New Delhi, Professor Somnath Sachdevaji, Honorable Vice Chancellor, Kurukshetra University, respected Shri J.N. Sahasrabudhe, National Organizing Secretary, Vigyan Bharati, Professor Brijesh Kumar Pandeji, Director, UGC HRDC JNU, and Dr. Sanjeev Sharma, Assistant Director, UGC HRDC JNU, all the course coordinator of 3 courses, other colleagues and friends from HRDC JNU, dear participant. It is my great pleasure to welcome you all to the joint valedictory function of 7th Faculty Induction Program, 3rd Refresher Course in Philosophy, and 19th Refresher Course in Physical Science and Nanoscience, which were organized by HRDC JNU New Delhi, and we are now at the end. So finally, this is the last session of all these events at this moment. So Kurukshetra University is also my previous organization, and I'm feeling very honored to have Professor Sachdevaji here on our valedictory function. Thank you for your presence, sir, here. And I'm feeling honored to have the blessing from Shri J.N. Sahasrabudhe in today's function, who remained always a source of inspiration for me. I have got a chance to work under his leadership many times, and he is a big motivator for all of us. Thank you to J.N. sir for accepting our invitation and motivating us in this function. I would like to thank you all for being present here today in the virtual mode, especially our participants of all the courses and who have chosen the HRDC JNU instead of any other HRDC near to them. Okay, so talking about our course, 19th refresher course in Physical Science and Nanoscience, focused on the basic conceptual understanding and technological advancement of recent research area in the physics and nanoscience. We had 37 active participants from subject of various science disciplines throughout the country. So in this course, we have covered both aspects, that is theoretical and experimental research, mainly in the area of nanotechnology, the energy material, plasmonics, storage devices, statistical mechanics, plasma physics, nuclear physics, various advanced experimental research facility, DMS-based quantum dots, organic, electronic, especially organic light emitting diode, 2D materials and their potential application, topological materials, computational modeling based upon density function theory, structure-based rational drug design, nanomedicine research, and space science as well. So we have in total 33 expert lecture by 33 participants, 5 evaluation and 2 additional lecture from both course coordinator. In fact, we have increased 3 lecture due to the high demand of the participant from our pre-planned lecture of 32. We got highly motivated participant. Almost every participant interacted with our speaker with after their lecture and confirmed their active participation, showed keen interest in collaborating with many of the speakers. So well done all the participants. In my opinion, they are now charged with motivation to do research at their respective places. As for the language of one of the participants, so this course has ignited the sleeping research desire in them. And now it will be remain burning with more research effort in future too. So among speakers, so we have covered entire India. So I will talk about top and bottom. So go from the top part of the India. So Professor Naresh Pada from University of Jammu was with us, and from the bottom, Dr. Satish Thampi, Vikram Sarabhai Space Center, ISRO, Trivandanapuram, Kerala was with us. And on the international level, Professor Yogendra Kumar Mishra from University of Southern Denmark, and from USA, Professor Ravinder Pandey, Michigan Technological University, Michigan Houghton, were with us. It is hard to speak in this short time all the name and their valuable contribution which they have provided to the to the participant, but I appreciate the dedicated effort of all the speakers and thank them for sparing their time for our refresher course. As the part of the course, each participant completed their project work successfully. They were also evaluated by the 5 evaluators through their presentation. Finally, I can say that on my own behalf and on the behalf of Dr. Pratima Solanki, our coordinator for refresher course in physical science and nanoscience, along with me, I would like to thank our Honorable Vice Chancellor, Professor M. Jagdish sir, and our director UGC-HRDC JNU to give us the opportunity to conduct this course. I acknowledge greatly the support from staff member of UGC-HRDC JNU, especially Gauravji and Nehaji, who have provided us very strong support during the entire course. Really, we had a very good and dedicated team at HRDC who take very quick action, and the communication by them to speaker, coordinator, and participants was up to the mark. So hats off to them for the same. And I sincerely thank one and everyone for making our refresher course a great success. Over to you, Dr. Sanjeev now.
Thank you very much, Professor Kashyap, for sharing the brief report about your course. And I believe that all our participants were highly benefited by the resource person you have invited and from you also. I thank to Dr. Pratima Solanki for coordinating this course. I would like to welcome Professor Yogendra Mishra ji. I can see now that you are also in our valedictory session. Thank you very much, sir. So now, I am proceeding further. Now, I would like to invite our source of inspirations and the motivation and the encouragement. Under his dynamic leadership, we are able to do all kind of the work, because I remember the day when the UGC sent a letter to you need to be conduct this online. Then we just think that how we can conduct such kind of the course and how we need to. But by providing some training, we are able to do. And today in this second year, we are going to complete almost all the courses. Now we have with us our Honorable Vice Chancellor of JNU, Professor M. Jagdish Kumar sir, who is also Professor in the Department of Electrical Engineering, IIT Delhi, a postdoctorate from the University of Waterloo, and the Chairman for the Executive Council of National Assessment and Accreditations, former member of UGC, and is also the Chairman for National Council of Science Museum. I would like to invite you, sir, and I request you to address all of us. Over to you, sir.
Thank you, Sanjeev. Let me extend a warm welcome to the distinguished speakers and all my dear colleagues who are teachers like me. Today I would like to share some thoughts. You have 3 refresher courses: nanoscience, philosophy, and in management area. When I teach nanoelectronics to my students, in the first class I tell them, you see, for the rest of the semester we are going to deal with an entity called electron. But we don't really know the true nature of electron even today. Our present understanding tells us that the electron behaves like a particle sometimes, and the electron behaves like a wave under some other different circumstances. So then what is an electron? So this is where, philosophy comes into picture. The nanoscience getting connected to philosophy. If you want to find the truth, what is an electron? We need to look at what sage Yajnavalkya has said, the greatest Upanishadic philosopher. He said Atman is neither this nor this, neti neti. Now we need to understand, in fact, when I was listening to the summary of what Professor Bhagat Ainam was describing, what was taught to the students, it was so interesting. The topics covered were so interesting. Philosophy and science are so closely interlinked because in both disciplines we are trying to find the truth. We may use different means, but the purpose is same. And why do we have to understand philosophy? Philosophy provides us an opportunity to understand ourselves, our self-realization. And if we understand better by looking inward, it should make us better human beings. When I say better human beings, we need to know how to live in harmony with people around us, with nature around us, and with ourselves. And ultimately, that is what gives us an equilibrium in our life, and that is what makes us a happy human being. And if you are a happy human being, then you can interact with the rest of the world around you. You can be a good manager, you can be a good teacher, you can be a good scientist, engineer, or a good farmer. Whatever you wish to do in your life, you can become a good human being. So in this context, I would like to tell you few stories. If I ask, is there anybody who likes stories? I'm sure many of you will raise your hands. So let me tell you one small story. As teachers, there are many things that we need to do, but of course, because of the shortage of time, I will tell you a couple of stories and a couple of things that we must do in our lives as teachers. So this is about a cat. It was very hungry that day. It came out of the house, went to the backyard, looked at the left side. It saw a mouse there. And the cat felt that because the cat was there, the mouse was completely frozen in fear and it was motionless. And it was, very tempting to go and catch and eat that mouse. But suddenly there was a sound on the right side, and the cat looks at the right side, and there was another mouse. And that mouse was slightly far away, and it is not at all afraid of the cat. It was nibbling something, eating something, and playing around. It was not at all afraid. So now in a split of a second, the cat has to make a decision. Which mouse to grab, left one or right one? The cat thought, okay, let me grab this mouse which is frozen in fear, it's not able to move. So it jumps on the mouse, catches the neck, and it tried to kill the mouse. But suddenly the cat found that the mouse was motionless, all right, but there was no blood, there was no flesh, it was simply a toy. The cat realized that it made a mistake and it looked at the other mouse, but that mouse, it just escaped and went into the hole. I told you this story because often in our life we face situations where we set lower goals for ourselves. And when we set lower goals, because something else appears difficult to achieve, we set lower goals, then we also achieve less in our life. So if you want to achieve something in what you are doing, set your goals higher. For example, if you are doing research, don't do some research which is routine. Try to do some research which is challenging. And when you write a paper, don't submit it to a journal which will just publish without any feedback. Submit it to a good journal where you will get a critical feedback so that you can improve your research, and submit it to a good journal so that there is more visibility and people use your research results. Set higher goals in your life. This is one lesson I learned when I read about this story. But when you set higher goals, when you are trying to achieve them, failures are very common. 95% of the startup companies which are established in Silicon Valley, they are failures. But then the people who establish those startups, they learn from the mistakes and move forward. And for this, you also should have perseverance. And there can be no example better than Bhagirath to think about how to be fixed on your goal and how to have perseverance so that you achieve your goal. We all know how Bhagirath, to atone the sins of his ancestors, he was required to bring Ganga to the earth, and he went and prayed to Lord Brahma, and Lord Brahma appeared and said, "Poor Bhagirath, you are praying to a wrong god. I am not the right god to bring Ganga. You go and pray Shiva." So again he had to go and pray Shiva for hundreds of years. And when Shiva comes, he agrees to bring Ganga. But Ganga was very mischievous. She wanted to play with Shiva, and she came very ferociously, and Shiva was angry, and she trapped her in his hair. Again there was no Ganga. Bhagirath again has to pray to Shiva, and Shiva opens a small hole in his hair, and Ganga comes, and Ganga follows Bhagirath. But on the way, Ganga submerges some huts where the sages were living, and they curse Ganga that you cannot move from here. Again another failure. So we must read the lives of such great people. Bhagirath, he didn't give up until Ganga came to the location that he wanted to bring her. This is another thing that we need to keep in our life. Set your goals high, work hard, have perseverance, and achieve your goals. And as teachers, when we enter the classroom, often we think that, well, I'm just a teacher. Your role is more than that of a teacher. You are a leader in the classroom. When you are on the podium, when you are talking with your students, you are shaping the thought process of your students. You are molding them into good human beings. So you are actually a leader. But how can you be an effective leader inside the classroom? How can you motivate your students? How can you bring that trust in the minds of your students so that you trust each other and work together and be co-travelers in the learning process, in the creation of new knowledge? You need to be an effective leader. How can you be an effective leader? Let me tell you one small story. All of us, when we were kids, we were very, very afraid of ghosts. Especially if the ghost came in the dreams, we were very, very afraid. But there was a special ghost which was afraid of itself. And this ghost, whenever it stood in front of the mirror, it realized that it is nothing. There is actually no ghost, it's just transparent. The ghost was felt only when it created fear in the other minds of the people. And because it knew the truth, it was afraid of itself. So if you want to be a good leader, can you be a good leader by creating fear in the minds of the people? By trying to control them? By whatever means, can you be a good leader? Or do you have to do something to create the trust and confidence in your students so that they understand and they also trust you and become good learners? Let me tell you one story, how trust plays a great role. When you trust somebody and when you expect him to do something and give that responsibility, I have seen in my own personal experience, people rise to the occasion and they perform very well. So how do you create that kind of trust in the system, in your team? Students are your team. They are your co-travelers. How do you do that? Well, let me tell you one story, and with that I will end. Alexander the Great. Well, Alexander, the Westerners call him Alexander the Great. Alexander, he was marching through the Asia Minor. Asia Minor is the region where the current Turkey is located. He was conquering so many countries on his way. One day he fell sick, and people called his personal physician, who was a great doctor. A message was sent to the personal physician to come and give medicine to Alexander. Alexander was waiting on his bed. Meanwhile, one intelligence report came. Alexander opened that, and the report said that today the physician is going to mix poison in the medicine that he was going to give to Alexander, because the physician was bribed by a Persian king. The physician came and he opened his bag, he mixed all these medicines, and he gave a glass full of medicine to the Alexander. Alexander took the intelligence report from under the pillow and gave to the personal physician, and the personal physician was reading with trembling hands. And by the time he finished reading, where the report said that the physician is going to add poison in the medicine that he is going to give, by the time he finished the report, Alexander drank the entire medicine that the physician gave, because Alexander had that trust that my physician will never give poison to me, and nothing happened to Alexander. This is the kind of trust that we need to have in each other when we are working as a team. As a team, if you want to motivate your people, whether it is the students, whether it is a staff in your team, whether it is an organization or a small classroom, it doesn't matter. Unless you create this kind of trust in each other, you cannot be a good leader. And that trust is built only as a leader when you are concerned about the well-being of the people with whom you are dealing with. Only when you behave as a human being just like them. You are not leader sitting up somewhere on the chair and then commanding everybody, but you are a co-traveler with your team members. That is when you can become a good leader. So let me stop with those couple of stories, but let me say this, that in the coming years, the higher education is going to be an exciting arena. Many new things are going to come. It's going to change the landscape of our higher education, and keep an open mind and be part of this change that we are creating in our country as teachers. And that requires for yourself to gain new skills, to become more knowledgeable, and programs such as this organized by our HRDC will go a long way in providing that new information. And I would like to congratulate the coordinators of this program for organizing these important sessions for teachers across the country, and I wish you all good luck. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, sir, and we extend our deep sense of gratitude to you. Thank you very much for sharing inspiration, motivation, encouraging and thought-provoking stories. Definitely these stories will help us like the boosters, and that booster means that the booster for our academic growth also. So thank you very much, sir, once again. Now I am profusely elated to take an opportunity to introduce very briefly our the guest Professor Somnath Sachdeva sir, who is the Honorable Vice Chancellor of Kurukshetra University. More than 35 years of the teaching and research and the consultancy experience. His expertise in transporting engineering, and he is also credited to start MTech program in transportation engineering in 2005 in Civil Engineering Department of NIT Kurukshetra. He is the well-known consultant and advisor for the highway engineering in part of the different part of the country. My humble request to you, sir, kindly address our participant. Over to you, Professor Sachdeva, sir.
सभी को नमस्कार. I hope I am audible.
Yes, sir, clearly.
आदरणीय श्री जयंत सहस्त्रबुद्धे जी, नेशनल ऑर्गेनाइजिंग सेक्रेटरी विज्ञान भारती, प्रोफेसर एम जगदीश कुमार, ऑनरेबल वाइस चांसलर JNU, Professor Brijesh Kumar Pandey, Director UGC HRDC JNU, Dr. Sanjeev Sharma, Assistant Director HRDC JNU, coordinators of various courses for which today we are having this combined valedictory program. So first of all, I extend you my warm greetings for the Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav. We are into 75th year of our independence, and I extend my greetings to all of you. I'm very happy to note that this valedictory program is being conducted for the 3 courses. The one was on physical sciences and nanosciences. It's a very relevant and upcoming field, especially the nanosciences. Hardly there is any field which is going to be left untouched in the time to come, where the nanomaterials are not going to pave their way into. I am from the civil engineering background. I know that these materials, nanomaterials, are getting into a big way into the civil engineering materials as well. And in the time to come, we'll find that our construction industry will be using more and more these kinds of the materials. They are already in. Only thing is that the economic aspects are probably not that favorable at the moment, and in the time to come, I'm hopeful they are going to become economical as well. Another program was on the faculty induction program, wherein various aspects related to ICT integrated and the teaching learning aspects and various kind of pedagogy approaches have been covered. I hope that all aspects related to our National Education Policy 2020 also might have been covered, and it's going to be very fruitful and beneficial to the participants. The third course was on philosophy, and philosophy is something that teaches us how to lead a contented life. We all wish to lead a happy life, for which we need to follow certain principles in life. I fully agree with Professor Jagdish, and I'm happy to note that various aspects of ontology, metaphysics, the aspects related to Eastern and Western civilization, the Vedic culture traditions and the Greek culture traditions, all these things have been covered. In addition to the science, we need to know the philosophy to lead a good life. Now, when I was invited by Professor Brijesh, I was thinking what to speak on this particular occasion, because 3 different kind of programs, they are being concluded and participants are from the different background. then I thought I need to, or I will be speaking on something which is very relevant these days. We are all talking about Atmanirbhar Bharat. And one of the biggest problems that we face today is the unemployment in our youth. So for around 10 to 15 minutes, I'll be speaking on what could be the role of our higher education institutions in this particular regard, regarding how to make our youth self-reliant and make them employable. We all know that in May 2020, our Honorable Prime Minister gave a call for be vocal for local. And in the country, we started Atmanirbhar Bharat Abhiyan. That was the time when we were all going through the lockdown conditions in the country. We were facing the COVID-1 and we were not prepared at all. But after this call was given, we found that whole of the nation responded very well. At the start of COVID, we were not having any kind of preparation. We were not having masks, we were not having PP kits, we were not having ventilators in enough number. But soon we found that the nation responded, and not only we could become self-reliant for all these equipments, but many of the equipments we were able to even export to other countries as well. We know about the vaccination that we could develop. We are among the 4 or 5 select countries in all of the world who could produce their indigenous vaccine against COVID-19. We know the success story of our Covaxin, Bharat Biotech, and partly indigenous vaccine, Covishield. At the start, when we were quite apprehensive what will happen to us, today we have crossed 160 crore doses of COVID vaccination. It is something that we can feel proud of. At the time of our independence, we were facing certain big problems. The people living under poverty line, around 70-75% people were there. Unemployment was very high. There was not enough food in the country to make our population survive. But over the last 74 years, many of these problems we have been able to address. Today, we have notable achievements in the field of agriculture, defense, space, technology, and we have reached a stage wherein we are a force to reckon with in whole of the world. Still, we find that around 20-21% people are below poverty line. And many of our youth, they are not getting employment, or they are not getting good employment. So this call, Atmanirbhar Bharat, this has got certain meaning. And the objective of this call is to make our youth self-reliant, to make them feel that yes, we can do it, I can do it, have confidence in them. And ultimately, through this, lead to a poverty-free Bharat. That is the meaning that I understand for this Atmanirbhar Bharat. So what we need to do is 3 kind of jobs. The number 1 is we need to bring awareness among our students. That is awakening program we need to take up. On the ground, second is on the ground, we need to do something by which we are able to support our MSME sector, medium, small, micro enterprises, which contribute to a lot of employment. Taking district as the focal point to exploit the strengths of that district to create more and more employment. And the third thing could be by doing something like we are talking here, by helping in policy intervention of the government and to come up with some kind of policies which lead to more employment. So on these issues I'll be speaking. If we take a look at our, say, employment situation in the country, today we are the, say, second largest population in the world with 138 crores. African Union has got 55 countries with total population 134 crore. Europe with 28 countries has 85 crore population, and US with 33.8 crore population. And we are much more than all these things. But we are the largest youth population in the world, 44 crores in the age group of 15 to 40 years. This is our strength. And in the past, it has been seen that the country which has got more young population, their GDP growth also had been more. This is an established fact. But at the same time, if you look at our unemployment scene, this is varying somewhere between 7 to 9% with different kind of the surveys that are coming up. It keeps on varying. You can easily say somewhere between 7 to 9%, it keeps on varying. And it is one of our biggest problems at the moment. We talk of any survey, whether it is conducted by ABP News, India Today, you talk to any kind of the political parties, you talk to people, they will say, yes, one of the main problems that the country faces today is the unemployment. Recently, UP is undergoing election soon. And there also, I was listening to the people talking to the news anchors, and most of the people they were saying that yes, बेरोजगारी हमारी बहुत बड़ी समस्या है. We see our achievements with $3.1 trillion economy. We are among the 5 or 6 largest economies in the world. 2018-19, when our GDP growth was somewhere between 6 to 7%, we were among the fastest growing economy, but still it was being considered as jobless growth. Our foreign exchange reserves are very high these days, around $635 billion. Historically, the highest. Our Sensex is touching somewhere around 60,000, sometimes crossing, sometimes coming down to this particular level. Our export import is around also more than $680 billion. But still, the employment is not increasing at the pace at which it should have increased. And ultimately, 7 to 9% people, they are simply the jobless. If we see the contribution of our different sectors that contribute to our economy, primary sector or the agriculture sector, the contribution is around 20% to the GDP. But its contribution to the employment is around 42%. May not be very exact, the figure I'm telling, could be 41.5 or something like that. Approximately I'm talking. So it means that GDP contribution is 20, but employment contribution is 42. In a simple language, we can understand there are 20 rupees available, but 42 people are relying upon that income. So income is less. Manufacturing sector or the secondary sector, contribution to GDP is 26%. Contribution to employment is also nearly 26%. So income is okay in this particular sector. Service sector, the contribution to GDP is 54%. But contribution to employment is somewhere around 32-33%. So here, income of the people is good. More income, less number of people are employed. So if we see this contribution to the GDP and contribution to the employment, what we find from here, agriculture sector is the area where we need to increase the income. If all those people who are employed in agriculture sector, we need to retain them there. Otherwise, what will happen? If you're not able to increase their income, in that case, they will also start shifting to other sectors. They will start shifting from villages to the urban areas. And the situation of unemployment will further worsen. Because of this reason only, probably our Prime Minister told that he intends to increase the income of our farmers 2 times than what they were having around 2-3 years back. Now let's have a look at from where we are getting the employment. All those who are employed, from where they are getting this employment. If we look at the government jobs, they are hardly 2%. It means 2% people are getting their employment from the government jobs. Another 5.5% they get it from the corporate sector. Corporate sectors, or you can say where a good salary is assured. At the end of the month, you are getting good salary, you are getting some insurance cover. If you take leave, your salary is not deducted. So we find that only 7.5% jobs are such which can be considered as good jobs. अच्छी नौकरियां मात्र 7.5%. Remaining around 15 to 20% jobs are under the category of casual workers, contract workers, where the salary is hardly 10,000 rupees per month. It is something which is called as underemployment. Persons with BTech degree, engineering degree, they are not getting even 10,000 rupees in the market. It is a fact. So we cannot consider them that they are employed. The rest of the employment comes from either the agriculture sector, that is, or the MSME sector. So these are the sectors through self-employment the people are getting employed. So what we understand is that self-employment, entrepreneurship, that is one area that needs to be encouraged. Agriculture sector is one sector that needs to be strengthened further. Now, what are the reasons for this unemployment? Let's try to look at those reasons also. For the last 50-60 years, all our policies have been GDP centric. We consider that GDP growth will lead to growth in employment. Of course, to some extent, it is true also. But if the GDP is growing, but if the employment is not growing in that proportion, then we need to give it a serious thought. So when we talk of the GDP growth, we also need to talk in terms of employment growth. So we sometimes, somewhere we need to focus on the employment growth as well. The second thing is, all our youth, they think that only the government job is the employment. So this kind of mindset needs to be changed. They need to be awakened, they need to be told that only 2% people get the government job. तो केवल सरकारी नौकरी को नौकरी समझना एक बहुत बड़ी भ्रांति है, इसको दूर करने की जरूरत है. Third one is, we do not respect the skill of the people. What is recognized in the market is degree, not the skill. So this kind of mindset also need to be changed. The private sector relies more on skill along with your qualification, but the government sector, probably we are not in a position to check the skill part. Another reason is, we consider agriculture something inferior to the other sectors. हम ये मानते हैं कि खेती तो घाटे का ही सौदा है. It is going to be a loss-making proposition. That is the mindset. That also need to be changed and need to be strengthened also to some extent, because the income is less. That is true also. So this needs to be changed. Another reason is, all these political parties, they make announcements at the time of elections. The announcements which are disastrous in nature, which bring disaster. So all the political parties should give it a rethinking, what need to be done, what is good for the nation. Another reason is that whatever new technology comes, we always lag behind in adopting that technology. For example, the government of India has already announced that by 2030, all these fossil fuel vehicles, automobiles, they are going to be phased out. But still we are not prepared. If tomorrow we are going to say we are going to eliminate diesel engine from the market, and we are talking about the electric vehicles. Electric vehicles have already started coming into electric vehicles. The number of components could hardly be 20 major components. Diesel engine could be having 2000 components. Lot of ancillary units are there. So these future technologies, we need to prepare ourselves. Otherwise, a lot of unemployment is going to be caused in the time to come. We are going in a big way for the solar energy without making the solar panel indigenous in the country, without their production in the country. So many of these, most of the solar panels we are trying to import. So because in the time we were not able to adapt ourselves to these new technologies. Now is the time when whole of the world is talking about artificial intelligence based techniques, machine learning, your blockchain technologies. Still, I feel that even our top institutions are lagging behind in adopting these kind of new technologies and preparing our youth for these technologies. Similarly, our government policies, they are not entrepreneur friendly. Our ease of doing business index has improved a lot over the last 4 or 5 years. Still, India ranks at number 63 in the world as far as the ease of doing business is concerned. It needs to be further improved. Today, if you wish to start any enterprise, not less than 20-25 NOCs you need to obtain from the government departments. Even after doing single window system and all that, so many NOCs are still required. So this all need to be changed further, improved further. Now, how we can address upon all these issues? All our policies need to be employment centric along with the GDP centric. We need to focus on the strength of the district. All the educational institutions, especially the higher educational institutions, they need to start awakening program among their youth, awakening in respect of the job scenario in the country and making them understand their future could be bright only if they think in terms of being entrepreneur. उद्यमिता एंटरप्रेन्योरशिप में ही सॉल्यूशन है. हमारी नई एजुकेशन पॉलिसी भी स्किल डेवलपमेंट पे बात करती है, इस तरह के प्रावधानों की बात करती है जहां पर हम एम्प्लॉयमेंट जनरेशन की तरफ जा सकें. इस चीज के लिए हमारे युवाओं को तैयार करना और उनको ये समझाने का प्रयत्न करना कि उनकी सोच ऐसी होनी चाहिए कि आई विल नॉट बी अ जॉब सीकर बट आई विल बी अ जॉब प्रोवाइडर. There are many advantages of becoming entrepreneur, to start their own business. The advantages that you never have when you are in a government job. All the benefits that you earn, all the experiences that you earn. आपने अपने मेहनत से एक 100 करोड़ रुपए की कंपनी बनाई, 20 साल आपने लगाए उसमें. जब आप वहां से रिटायर होते हैं तो पूरा का पूरा बेनिफिट आप अपनी नेक्स्ट जनरेशन को पास ऑन करते हैं. परंतु किसी भी गवर्नमेंट जॉब के अंदर ये फैसिलिटी अवेलेबल नहीं है. मैं आज वाइस चांसलर हूं, मैं अपने बेटे को असिस्टेंट प्रोफेसर नहीं लगवा सकता. तो ये अगर आप एंटरप्रेन्योर हैं तो आपने जितना भी एक्सपीरियंस एक्यूमुलेट किया, आपकी नेक्स्ट जनरेशन गेट्स बेनिफिटेड आउट ऑफ दैट, व्हिच इज नॉट पॉसिबल इन एनी अदर काइंड ऑफ जॉब. तो ये इस तरह की सारी चीज अगर हमारे विद्यार्थियों को हम समझा पाए तो वो एम्प्लॉयमेंट रेडी हो सकते हैं एंटरप्रेन्योर के द्वारा. इस चीज का हमें एक अवेकनिंग प्रोग्राम स्टूडेंट्स के अंदर लेना चाहिए. हमें उनको समझाना चाहिए कि आज भी हमारा 80% से ज्यादा रोजगार या तो कृषि क्षेत्र से आ रहा है या लघु उद्योग के क्षेत्र से आ रहा है. लघु उद्योग का मतलब यह है कि आपको एंटरप्रेन्योर बनना होगा. आज हमारे पास बहुत अच्छा एग्जांपल है स्टार्टअप्स का. वी आर हैविंग वेरी गुड स्टार्टअप इकोसिस्टम इन द कंट्री. अगर हम अपनी सक्सेस स्टोरीज देखें स्टार्टअप्स की, तो आज हमारे पास लगभग 75 यूनिकॉर्न्स हैं इंडिया में. यूनिकॉर्न मीन्स 100 crore US dollar company. Last year में every month 2 unicorns have got established in the country. 60,000 startups के साथ इंडिया आज पूरे वर्ल्ड में दूसरे या तीसरे नंबर पे है स्टार्टअप्स के मामले. So we have gone through a very good journey. The startups, as Professor Jagdish told, when we do something new, there are going to be failures in the beginning. But when we have the failures, we get a lot of experience. And when we accumulate good experience, then we are bound to be successful in the time to come. So all our higher educational institutions, if they bring in this kind of awakening in the youth, I am hopeful that this particular kind of problem, the biggest problem that we face at the moment, unemployment, that could be addressed. So I think I have taken my time. There were certain issues also related to this aspect, but probably with this kind of introduction that I have given, all other aspects, our young participants, they'll be able to cover on their own. I would like to sum up my address with these words that our young participants, they should think something new, they should think something big, and they should come out with ideas which are out of the box kind of ideas. In fact, the same thing was told by Professor Jagdish also. I'm telling it in some other words. The things remain almost the same. So we have great hopes from our youth, and I'm very confident that the future of our country is very bright in the hands of our youth. I'm thankful to the organizers. They gave me this opportunity to talk to all you people. So thank you very much. Jai Hind, Jai Bharat.
Thank you very much. Thank you, sir. Our heartfelt gratitude to you, Professor Sachdeva, sir, for sharing your views on a very relevant issues. And you have also highlighted and suggested that how the higher education institutions and the faculty member, those who are working in the higher education institutions, can play a very, very important role. And among that Atmanirbhar Bharat, how to become everyone Atmanirbhar, that is very, very important. We thank you again, sir. So now this is a time to hear the sharing experience from the participant. Although we have already collected the feedback from the participant, we are running out of the time. So my humble request to the participant, please share your experience very briefly so that we can give the chance to all the 6 participants. I request, first of all, the participant from Faculty Induction Program, Dr. Sadhana Sharma. I request you please share the experience on behalf of all the participants. So feedback we have already collected. So you just highlight your experience, that whatever you have feel during this course. Over to you, Dr. Sadhana Madam. And very briefly, you also introduce your institute. Yeah, over to you, Dr. Sadhana.
जी, प्रणाम सभी को, नमः सभापतिभ्यश्च। यहाँ पे सभी गणमान्य सदस्यों को प्रणाम करते हुए मैं कामेश्वर सिंह दरभंगा संस्कृत विश्वविद्यालय में सहायक आचार्य हूँ व्याकरण विभाग में। यहाँ पे फैकल्टी इंडक्शन प्रोग्राम हम लोग 27 दिसंबर से कर रहे हैं, जिसके विषय में मुझे मेरे भैया से पता चला था। उन्होंने भी JNU से ये फैकल्टी इंडक्शन प्रोग्राम और 3 रिफ्रेशर कोर्स किए थे इससे पहले। यहाँ पर मुझे प्रारंभ में तो ये भी लग रहा था कि यहाँ पे पता नहीं मेरा चयन होगा कि नहीं होगा, किंतु चयन होने के पश्चात बहुत ही अच्छा लगा, हर्ष हुआ। और उसके पश्चात भी जब हमने समय देखा 9:30 बजे से 5:30 तक, तो सुनने में और सोचने में तो काफी कठिन समय लगता है कि 9:30 से 5:30 बहुत ज्यादा है। किंतु जब हमारे जो अध्यापिका या अध्यापयित्री थे, उन्होंने जिस तरीके से हमको पढ़ाया, जिस प्रभाव से पढ़ाया, जिस संलग्नता से हमको पढ़ाया, वो इतना प्रभावशाली था कि हमको इस समय का पता ही नहीं चला कि कब ये सारे समय हमारे बीते, और बहुत ही अच्छा उस समय हमको लगा। इसी के साथ में सर यहाँ पे प्रबंधन भी बहुत ही अच्छा था। चाहे वो ब्रिजेश पांडे सर की ओर से हो, उन्होंने भी प्रारंभ में मुझे जुड़ने में दिक्कतें हो रही थी, तो उन्होंने मार्गदर्शन किया था। या फिर आप संजीव सर हैं, उनका भी मार्गदर्शन बहुत रहा मेरे ऊपर। और हमारे अभिभावक स्वरूप राजीव सिजेरिया सर हों या लोकेश जिंदल सर हों या फिर लक्ष्मण बेहरा सर हों। साथ ही में कंप्यूटर के उसमें भी तकनीकी सहायता में भी डॉक्टर गौरव सर ने भी हमें बहुत ही सहयोग प्रदान किया बीच-बीच में। इसी के साथ में जो हमारे सहयोगी थे, उनका भी बहुत ही उनके साथ भी मिलकर बहुत अच्छा लगा, क्योंकि सभी के सभी विभिन्न क्षेत्रों से थे और विभिन्न विभागों से थे। तो ऐसे में हर विभिन्न विभागों के लोगों से मिलकर के मुझे ऐसा लगा कि हम आगे चल कर के हमारे लिए भविष्य में ये बहुत ही सहयोग प्रदान करेगा। और सबसे खास बात तो सर ये है कि जब भी हम बाहर में या कहीं पे भी बताते हैं कि जेएनयू से यदि हम कर रहे हैं, तो प्रायः हर कोई ये बोलता था कि वहाँ पर तो कोई हिंदी बोलते ही नहीं है। तो किंतु ये जो इस बार हमारा गुरु दक्षता कार्यक्रम रहा, पाठ्यक्रम रहा, ये द्विभाषीय में रहा है। जितने भी हमारे अध्यापिका या अध्यापित्री थे, उन सभी ने ही द्विभाषीय होकर के हम लोगों को पढ़ाया, तो इससे हम सभी को ही बहुत ही सुलभता रही। सर जी, प्रणाम सर, धन्यवाद।
धन्यवाद डॉक्टर शर्मा मैडम, आपका अनुभव साझा करने के लिए। और आपके द्वारा जो भी फीडबैक हमें मिला है, हम प्रयास करेंगे कि आगे आने वाले कार्यक्रमों में अपना जो भी हमारे ये कोर्स रहते हैं उसको और इम्प्रूव करेंगे। मैं अब डॉक्टर मनीष शर्मा जी से, जो फैकल्टी इंडक्शन प्रोग्राम से हैं, सर ओवर टू यू।
Thank you, sir. A very good evening to all the respected dignitaries and Honorable Vice Chancellor, sir, of JNU. Myself is Dr. Manish Sharma, Assistant Professor in Geology from Government College Daman, Duty Administration of Dadar Nagar Haveli and Daman and Diu. Would like to share feedback of our program on the behalf of my fellow participants. At the outset, I would like to say that, sir, this FIP program proved to be a torchbearer for us, which will pave the path for our upliftment and enrichment of our teaching learning process and academic standards at our respective institutions, as it has inculcated a multidisciplinary approach and provided a wider vision in terms of multidisciplinary or interdisciplinary aspects. The aspects of innovative teaching learning in terms of ICT and open education resources, etc., were thoroughly discussed with the experts in this program, which gave us a deep insight into the research-based pedagogy and also provided us a better opportunity to explore every kind of dimension of our teaching learning process. The most remarkable feature of this program was its inclusive approach, because most of the session, in fact, all the sessions, they were conducted in bilingual mode, so that it was an inclusive approach to encompass all kind of participants from diverse backgrounds. The choice of speakers in this program was really appreciated, because in total 70 to 80 sessions were conducted, and we came to across around 70 to 80 resource persons who were best in their field. And in fact, we requested to our course coordinators to repeat the resource persons in some of the sessions, and that was also happened, and it was really an enjoyable experience for us. Apart from providing a deep insight into the roles and responsibility of faculty in higher education institution, also explaining its structural and functional aspects, I think after this program, we will be focused on our fine analytical skills, logical reasonings, and dynamic outlook of problem solving. It has also enabled us to gain a good organizational abilities and understanding a better research coordination at our respective institutions and universities. I also think that after this program, we will become more intuitive and imaginative and full of ideas at the same time. As we think that, and we are the stakeholder of National Education Policy 2020, after this program, we think that we are more vigilant and more enriched in terms of better understanding of this great mission. Thus, the course coordination was actually done in very efficient and disciplined manner, and such kind of approach has inculcated a sense of professional ethics within us,
So really our course coordinators, they have become a role model for us. At the last, on the behalf of my fellow participant, I extend my sincere gratitude to our course coordinators and Director of HRDC JNU, Assistant Director of HRDC JNU, and all faculties and Honorable Vice Chancellor Sir, that we are really looking forward to have a second opportunity at this great institution, because it will provide a framework to our all-round development in our academic career. Thanks a lot, sir.
Thank you, Dr. Manish Sharma ji, for sharing your experience. Now, I would like to request a participant from third refresher course in philosophy, Dr. Bizoli. May I request you to kindly share your experience, Dr. Bizoli?
Excuse me, sir, may I correct you? It's not doctor, actually.
Okay, no issue.
I'm not a doctor. Okay,
please, go ahead.
Respected the honorable dignitaries and respected guests of this program present here. And on behalf of all my fellow participants, I'd like to extend our heartfelt gratitude to HRDC JNU for giving us the opportunity to participate in this program. It was indeed an enriching learning experience, and this has highly benefited us. And this is also going to help us in our further research and career as well. So thank you so much. And the kind of support and guidance that we got from Professor Bhagat Oinam sir and Professor Rajneesh Mishra sir was commendable. And they were with us the entire time, during the entire course. So thank you so much. And a heartfelt thank you to each and everyone.
Thank you, ma'am, for sharing your experience. Now, I would like to request Dr. Uddhav Nirwal ji. Please share your experience.
Namaste, sir. Am I audible, sir?
जी सर.
बहुत ही आपका अभिनंदन सर, बहुत ही बेहतरीन प्रोग्राम आप कंडक्ट कर दिए, आपकी टीम भी और आपके वाइस चांसलर सर और आपके सब हमारे कोऑर्डिनेटर की सभी तीनों कोर्स की टीम है, बहुत ही अच्छी मेहनती ढंग से काम कर रही है। और इस कोर्स में मैं आपसे एक चाहूंगा कि हमारे जो ये फिलोसॉफी का जो कोर्स है वो सबके लिए अलाउड कर दो। इसमें इतनी ताकत है। मैं पॉलिटिकल साइंस ब्रांच हूँ सर, मैं मेरा अपना खुद का भाग्य समझता हूँ। मैं 4 कोर्स करे अभी पूर्ण कंप्लीट आई हैव, बट द एक्चुअली satisfaction of completion of the course now I feel better. मैं बहुत ही खुशनसीब आज समझता हूँ अपने आप को, जो आपने रिसोर्स पर्सन दिए। मैं विशेष तौर पर हमारे कोऑर्डिनेटर कोर्स के थर्ड फिलोसॉफी रिफ्रेशर कोर्स के कोऑर्डिनेटर रिस्पेक्टेड डॉक्टर ओइनम भगत सर जी और हमारे रजनीश मिश्रा सर जी, मैं बहुत ही अत्यंत आभार प्रकट करता हूँ। बहुत बहुत गहरी बातें जो 10 साल हम लाइब्रेरी में बैठ के हमको पता नहीं चलती थी, वो आज हमें बिल्कुल अच्छी तरह से हमें मिल गई है। और कंप्लीट तौर पे मैं इसके बारे में अभी आपका और आप सभी वाइस चांसलर सर और विशेष तौर पर अभी दोनों सोमनाथ सर जी और अपने जगदीश सर जी बड़ी अच्छे स्टोरी के ढंग से जो आपने मार्गदर्शन किया, बहुत बहुत हम समाधानी है। और हमारी जो कलीग्स है, हमारे जो पार्टिसिपेंट्स है, उनकी तरफ से और अब सभी हमारी अपनी HRDC की जो टीम है, राहुल सर है, नेहा जी है, मैडम, वो सभी को मैं त्रिवार धन्यवाद देता हूं सर। बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद।
धन्यवाद डॉक्टर उद्धव जी, आपका बहुत बहुत आभार। और हमारे लिए भी ये सौभाग्य की बात रहती है कि जब आपकी तरह पार्टिसिपेंट्स होते हैं और पूरे इंटरेस्ट के साथ कोर्स को अटेंड करते हैं। आपका आभार, धन्यवाद।
थैंक यू।
आई वुड लाइक टू रिक्वेस्ट डॉक्टर रेखा फ्रॉम द स्पेशल कोर्स फिजिकल साइंस एंड नैनो साइंस। May I kindly to request you, madam, please share your experience.
Am I audible, sir?
Yes, ma'am, please.
Okay, sir. Good afternoon to Honorable VC Sir, respected Director Sir, JNU, UGC, HRDC, and respected guests, and respected course coordinators, and also all the participants. Here, I am Dr. Rekha Sharma from Government PG College Khargon, affiliated to Devi Ahilya University, Indore, situated in MP. And first of all, we are grateful to the Director, JNU, UGC, HRDC, New Delhi, for giving us an opportunity to participate in this 19th refresher course in physical sciences and nanosciences. And after attending the refresher course, really, sir, I am feeling like this refresher course is giving energy, like a booster dose to all of us in the field of research for looking into the new direction of physical as well as nanosciences. We have benefited a lot by connecting with renowned speakers and also with respected intellectual participants from north to south and east to west during this course, and me as well from the heart of the country. Sir, I am feeling like Delhi ab dur nahi hai, as told by Dr. Pratima Solanki in the starting session of the course. And thank you, Pratima Madam, and thank you, Manish Sir also. And as you know, talents are always there in each corner of the world. And it is a matter of chance to get explored and benefited by education in the right path. So I would like to let you know that, sir, that our college belongs to tribal area in MP. And so in my view, talents are also here in tribal areas, and being an educator, I feel that I should help our students as well as our faculties by organizing online webinars and workshop kind of activities in near future in our college by connecting nearby colleges and other universities too, in collaboration with respected faculties of JNU and also participants of this refresher course as well. So thank you very much to all of you to enlighten us by showering your valuable knowledge, sir. Thank you very much.
Thank you,
so
Dr.
much.
Rekha ma'am. Now I would like to request the last participant, Dr. Jaswal ji. Please share your experience. Over to you, sir.
Hello, I'm audible, sir?
Yes, sir. Yes.
Myself, Dr. Jaspal Singh, Assistant Professor, Department of Physics, Punjabi University, Patiala, Punjab. First of all, I would like to say my sincere vote of thanks to all the dignitaries present over here for providing me an opportunity to present my feedback about the 19th refresher course in Physical and Nanosciences organized by HRDC JNU. This course has enabled all the participants to get the flavor of advanced research work carried out by the eminent persons working at national and international institutions of repute. During the 12 days of the course, we all have gone through about 40 lectures, and it is very difficult to compare them on the basis of their quality. All the lectures were equally good and relevant to the theme of the present course, and best resource persons were invited by HRDC in their respective fields. In fact, we all are deeply impressed with the speakers. As most of the participants are from colleges or state universities in which there is lack of environment, facilities, and motivation for research, this refresher course successfully provided us with the necessary dose or zeal of R&D, latest happenings in the field, and possible prospects for our future career growth. The course effectively covered various topics of the theme of physical and nanosciences in the form of their theoretical and experimental aspects. I think we all are feeling recharged once again with the clear directions and motivations to do excellent work at our respective places for the students, society, and nation as well. Our course coordinator, Dr. Manish Kumar Kashyap and Dr. Pratima Solanki motivated all the participants to collaborate with the concerned speaker of the course for their respective research work. Both the coordinators provided us with a very comfortable, healthier environment and discussion at the end of each lecture. Their ever smiling faces and cooperation will remain to our memories for a long time. I also want to acknowledge technical team of HRDC JNU, especially Gaurav sir, Neha ma'am, for all the support throughout the course. It is worthwhile to mention here that the entire program cannot be accomplished with the active support from the Director HRDC and Honorable Vice Chancellor of the University. Sir, on the behalf of all the participants, I would like to extend my heartfelt wishes and gratitude for all your efforts. At the last, I can say that there is only one lack in the program, that we all are missing physical interaction and our visit to JNU due to COVID-19 pandemic. I pray to God for early end of this disease and normalcy in our day-to-day life, so that we all could be able to attend and visit JNU physically in future. Thank you, HRDC JNU, for this great course, as we enjoyed and learned a lot from it. That's all I have to say. Once again, thank you so much.
Thank you, Dr. Singh, for sharing your experience. So we have come to the end of this combined valedictory session. So if our respected Vice Chancellor sir or Director sir want to say something, or I just...
Let's conclude now.
Yeah. So thank you very much. I have few announcements to our participant before I can present gratitude to all of you. I hope that you all have received your leaving order during our valedictory session. By the next week, we will try to send you the hard copy of the certificate through speed post. We can collect your address also, and we will also send the scan copy so that you can get easily scan copy as well as the hard copy. So now it is my sincere responsibility to propose a word of gratitude to all of you. First of all, I express my sincere gratitude on behalf of all the participants and the organizer to our respected Professor M. Jagdish Kumar sir, Honorable Vice Chancellor of JNU. Thank you so much, very much, sir, for providing your support, encouragement, and motivation to all of us. We would be highly and present our gratitude to our speaker and the guest for the valedictory session, Professor Sachdeva sir and Manya Siri Jain Sahasrabudhe sir, for sparing your valuable time and expecting our invitation, sir. Thank you very much, sir. We were indeed privileged to listen to you, sir, and it is a great privilege to all of us. Our heartfelt gratitude to you again, sir. Now I would like to thank to all our respected coordinator, because no refresher course can shape without the hard work of coordinator. And this is only due to their dedication, hard work, that we are able to complete all the courses successfully. Thank you very much, all our respected course coordinator, Professor Manish ji, Professor Solanki madam, Professor Sajeria sir, Jindal sir, Abheda sir, Professor Bhagat sir, and Professor Rajneesh Shukla sir. I thank you all, and we highly appreciate to invite the resource person from the different field. We would also like to acknowledge all the HOD from where all the participants are coming, because without their nomination, you will not be able to join this course. Thank you very much, all our the HOD of your institution. We would also highly acknowledge all the resource person, those who came to deliver the lecture on this the platform. And we would also like to thank all our distinguished participants, because without you, these courses may not be possible. So we thank you all, and you all are very disciplined, our participant. This was only due to the interest and like your the encouragement which you have shown during the courses. We would also like to thank our technical team, especially Gaurav, for handling all these courses parallelly from the morning 9:30 to evening time, and sometime after 5:30 or up to 6:30 also. We would also like to thank other HRDC staff. And at last, this is only due to the able guidance of our Director, Professor Brajesh Kumar Pandey sir. So we are thankful to our Director HRDC JNU. We would also like to thank our JNU faculty as a resource person or providing other support also, and Director CIS for providing uninterrupted internet facility to all. So once again, I congratulate to all our participants for successful completion of your courses. So thank you very much, and I wish you all the happy future. Thank you very much. With these words, I request my technical team, and with the permission of our here, we can end the meeting. Over to technical team. Thank you.